gonna move so that I
Oh
don't
yeah,
get
your head.
sting.
So we have
Like that.
thorns behind us.
Yes.
June
Really
12th.
sharp one.
Yes. June 12th is Loving Day in the US, and it's a celebration of interracial couples.
Woo!
And and this
Cheers.
is cheers. It celebrates the 1967 Supreme Court decision of Loving versus Virginia anti-miscegenation laws. And it was a couple that they were a black woman and a white man, and they were married, had children, and weren't allowed to live together, to be together because of anti-miscegenation laws. Got arrested several times, and yeah, so June 12th is a celebration of the Supreme Court overturning that. As far as we come, there are some things that are a little backwards. Question that I always get about traveling as a black woman, another thing people ask is, what is it like traveling with my white boyfriend? Michele actually suggested I do a story about great places for black couples to travel, and I had to remind him we were not a black couple. And so
It's all about what you feel.
it's all about
Not what you feel.
How do you feel traveling with the black woman? Have you noticed a difference?
I think it depends on where you go. But especially if you go in those places where, they're kind of either very traditional, like still a bit like racist cultures and stuff like that, then it kind of you kind of see the difference compared to like traveling with a white person. You can feel like people are staring at you. You can feel like in the center of the tension, like not always in a good way. Sometimes in a good way, like Southeast Asia, it was fun.
That was fun, but
They just do it.
weird.
It's just curiosity. I think in some places just about curiosity. In other places it's more about they just don't like you. I don't know. They just like they're just close-minded.
One thing I worry about, like a place, I was in Spain this morning, for example, where there is a terrible stereotype about black women, a lot of Brazilian women, West African women being prostitutes. So I don't want to be seen like I'm a prostitute with you, or thought of that I could be a prostitute with you. That's something that is a concern for me.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, why? How is it to date like a pizzaiolo guy? Because that's the stereotype about Italian people. Like a mafia guy.
This is not about.
Like a lazy
this
guy.
is not about you guys. This is about being an interracial couple.
But what I'm saying is that every culture is gonna have its own stereotype. So you don't have to spend too much time worrying about that. Obviously, if you're black or if you're white, it makes a difference. Not just because of stereotype, but just because it's a race thing.
Exactly, and it's a historical oppression with the stereotype. It's not just.
But like stereotypes, like how they treat you in general. Like, are you gonna be treated differently?
Yes, I think.
Yes, then there is a problem,
Yeah.
regardless of the stereotype.
Exactly, and I think that a lot of the stereotypes surrounding black women and black people in general cause bodily harm to us.
Yeah, they're usually negative.
When we were in India, I felt very happy that I was with you because I've had, especially recently after I posted about safety in traveling, I had a few black women reach out to me about their terrible experiences in India. One was assaulted, kind of stuff is always a concern that we don't have the freedom to move. Like, for example, the white couple that we saw in India on the train station. They took a train to Agra, and that's not a second thought to them. And that's something that I do have to think about because of incidents that happen. It's not just me being paranoid. It's incidents where the people in the culture have shown that they don't value people of my race and want to cause us bodily harm. And it's not everyone.
Like, I wasn't feeling safe.
Yeah.
With that. Even though nobody ever did anything, but they're just staring at you. They walk around you. And it's maybe not everywhere.
The woman that hissed at
we
me.
can't just generalize.
We can't paint a broad stroke, but
India's big,
And we've had also some amazing experience there with awesome friends that are Indians. I don't know if it's an education thing, maybe a class thing, who you have access to, because obviously the airport people, the hotel staffs, they were all great. So I think it depends. And then speaking of the bodyguard thing. That I'm starring, you're just my bodyguard. Sometimes you look like that.
Wow.
Sometimes around Italy, you look like that, like escorting you
Yeah,
around.
because you're tiny.
With your
you know?
sunglasses on, and then you push the people
Yes.
at events.
Yes.
You look like that.
Because you get squeezed.
Yeah.
I need to push people away from me.
And then like camera control, like
Yeah.
like in Thailand, who were taking too many. You were like, okay,
Yeah.
enough. Do you ever feel awkward being the only white guy in the room? Like my cousin's birthday party, for example.
No, I mean, me personally, no, because obviously
Personally, yeah.
no, because I spent so much time in London where it's just totally normal, to be surrounded by people with different cultures, from
That's
different
true.
like skin color and everything. You don't really pay attention to that. It's just normal,
There's more flavor.
No, there is more flavor. Obviously, there is some difference, but it's not
I'm
about the
kidding.
color. It's about
The people, obviously.
yeah.
I think being the only white person or only black person in a room in Bergamo for me is very different from being the only black person in a room in Milan, for example.
Yeah, Milan is full of international people. Bergamo, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, in Milan, they actually live there.
Exactly.
So that's the main difference because they get integrated in the culture of the city. I mean, but also like places like Morocco, generally they were really welcoming.
I found
Also in Fez, that is really traditional.
That's what I was gonna say. I found 90% very welcoming, and I think partly because like Fez being really traditional and it's a Muslim country
really,
and really religious.
religious.
It's a really religious city. It's the spiritual capital of the country,
Yeah.
and
And also on the mountains, you would say, oh, people are really close-minded on the mountains.
super hospitable.
Yeah, but they were not, right?
Yeah, no, they were super
They were
hospitable.
really nice.
You ever worry about my safety when you're traveling with me?
Yeah, all the times.
The times?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you never know, right? Because you tell me all these stories, I'm a bit naive, right? So by being white, you're not used to this kind of like
It's white privilege.
you just grew up and don't think about some stuff. But then by staying with a black person, like going around traveling, you start realizing that actually there might be some danger around the corner sometimes,
Around the corner.
No, yeah, there are people staring, people like
Yeah.
yelling stuff sometimes, and you never know. Like those things escalate quickly. It starts from one, and then there's another group of people that just go like all together. I mean, all of a sudden you're in a bad situation.
Have you started working out more? You haven't.
But you remember I used to do karate. So.
Oh yes,
Martial
he's got
arts.
moves.
Moves.
And then any questions that people ever ask you about what it's like being with me as a black person?
I mean, sometimes I think it was in London, where it's really common to have like black Muslim people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who it was, but they kind of like made me understand that they wanted to ask me if you were like Muslim or not, and I had to to clarify that no, she's not Muslim.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't
But
really
it
know.
just I don't remember if it was about food or
Was it about the chicken
traveling.
thing?
They're
Their
telling me how can you
vegetables.
be with the black people because they like spicy food all the time. And they were like, yeah, that's true, but
Let's go back
I'm
to
open to spicy things, so spicy margaritas.
jalapenos.
And also Asia was really good. I mean, again, you can see the difference that they're not really used to black people, but
You mean in Thailand?
Southeast Asia, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not used to that. I mean, in Bangkok they are, I think. But if you start traveling in the northern Thailand, they're not as used to that.
Oddly enough, I don't think it was the Thai people. I think it was the Chinese visitors that weren't used to it.
Yeah, maybe. You don't feel like people are staring at you, or they're just
No,
like,
no.
they're just people don't mind their own business.
It was standard, like, be aware of your surroundings fear
Yeah.
that I had. That
Yeah.
he doesn't really have that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still the thing.
I would drive money in Brooklyn in the middle of the night.
Who withdraws money in Brooklyn in the middle of the night?
Me, I wanted to withdraw money. You were like, you don't do that in the middle of the night.
Exactly. He just doesn't have, like, thoughts about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on Loving Day? Would you do a road trip across the U.S. with me?
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know if I would.
What do you mean a road trip?
I would like to, but I feel like there's still some parts of the U.S. that can get pretty suspect.
Well, I've never been there, so I don't know. That's the naive part of me. I've been in US.
You've been to like more big
I never been to
metropolises.
the southern states where you have these kind of problems.
Or it's also not just southern, it's along the eastern seaboard, maybe smaller, more rural communities. I would love to do a road trip across the US, but I don't know if some parts of the US are ready for me, nor am I ready for it.
So then we just avoid them.
Just go
It's a
around.
big country.
Yeah, it's a big country and it's beautiful, and I would love to see all of it. I've traveled across country, or down country, I guess, in Italy.
Yeah, it's nice.
Beautiful, and the U.S. is just as beautiful.
People just
those
offer you food.
plains. Yeah, people just offer me food. That's true. But I
Like, you
also
go try my oil, my tomatoes.
When I did that, it was also before you guys had, as you've always had immigration, but it was before immigration became such a political issue here. Some of the same communities that I lived in, where they really embraced the immigrants. What are you doing? When we're out to a restaurant, do you notice or do a scan to see if there are other interracial couples in the room? Or do you never notice?
Me?
Yes.
No, I don't. I just look at the menu, the food. I look at other people's food, just to help me
that's
out
what
with the
he's-
choice.
Fair enough. Okay, that's you. So any last thoughts on Loving Day?
Kisses. You gotta give kisses.
You have to give kisses, so
Yeah.
happy Loving Day to all of the couples out there. One other thing.
Come and travel with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys, and
Bye.
follow us and subscribe. I'm gonna put our names around this video.
You're gonna put mine too.
Yeah, Staglione
nice.
_Michele.
Nice.
Looks like Michelle if you don't know
One L,
Italian.
one
1L.
Ian.
And Anaya, N-N-E-Y-A.
Oh, that's a weird one.
Oh, that's a weird one. Michele. Bye, guys. E ciao.
Ciao, belli. What?
Fresh I am. I'm fresh. I'm fresh.
Look at our feet.